The cosmos had always whispered secrets, but nothing could prepare humanity for the day the whispers became a roar. Just as the final modules of the Dyson sphere were being assembled, Dr. Arian Vex stood amidst the towering structures, his breath hitching in his throat. A sudden explosion of radiation erupted from the core, sending a cascade of pulsating light across the vast expanse of space. Shapes twisted and morphed within the blinding brilliance, echoing forms that seemed almost alive. Instruments blared with readings that defied logic, hinting at an energy source that humanity had no right to comprehend. It was a moment of both awe and terror, a glimpse into the unknown that would forever alter the course of their ambitious project. For decades, humanity had poured every ounce of its ingenuity into the construction of the Dyson sphere surrounding Sol, a feat intended to harness the sun's immeasurable energy and secure a future of infinite prosperity. But beneath the gleaming surfaces and intricate designs lay an undercurrent of anxiety. Whispers of clandestine experiments had circulated among the engineers. Dr. Vex, a pivotal figure in this monumental endeavor, found himself haunted by the shadows of these unspoken secrets. As he gazed at the swirling lights, memories of his past flooded back. The loss of his brother during a failed solar experiment, a tragedy that had ignited a fire within him to pursue knowledge, but now felt like a premonition of doom. The very structure that promised salvation was beginning to unravel, revealing flaws hidden from the naked eye. Strange inscriptions, reminiscent of ancient scripts, adorned the walls, symbols that whispered of extraterrestrial origins and cosmic alignments. As the energy surged, a sinister presence began to manifest, intertwining with the very fabric of the Dyson sphere, blurring the lines between science and the supernatural. The chaos intensified, and Dr. Vex felt a tightening in his chest. The readings from the instruments surged irrationally, indicating that the sphere had gone beyond the realm of human control. It was not merely a machine. It pulsed with a life of its own, bending the laws of matter and space-time into grotesque shapes. The surrounding environment, once a marvel of human achievement, morphed into a labyrinth of shadows and light, each corner whispering warnings of impending doom. As he struggled to comprehend the magnitude of what he was witnessing, a sense of urgency gripped him. The energy released threatened to consume everything, a chaotic force that could obliterate the very existence of the solar system. The flickering lights cast eerie reflections on the walls, and in that moment, Vex realized the true weight of his responsibility. He was not only the architect of a new era, he was now the guardian of a reality that teetered on the brink of annihilation. Dr. Vex stood frozen between two paths, one that led to a future illuminated by boundless energy, and the other into the abyss of cosmic terror. To shut down the Dyson sphere would mean relinquishing humanity's hope for infinite power, a choice that felt like a death sentence for millions. Yet the alternative loomed, unleashing a chaos that could engulf them all. The very essence of human existence hung in the balance, and as night fell over the sprawling construction site, an inexplicable dread settled in the air. But when darkness enveloped the sphere, something unfathomable stirred within its core. As the darkness deepened, enveloping the Dyson sphere like a shroud, Dr. Vex felt a chilling presence ripple through the air. The pulsating light from the core flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows that danced like restless spirits. He was not alone. His team gathered around him, eyes wide with a mix of wonder and fear. Among them stood Dr. Ilara Quinn, a brilliant astrophysicist whose sharp intellect had always complemented Vex's visionary ambitions. She was the voice of reason, but tonight, uncertainty clouded her usually unwavering demeanor. "Arian, we need to assess the situation," Ilara urged, her voice barely rising above the cacophony of alarms. "If we don't contain this energy surge, we could lose everything." He met her gaze and saw the flicker of desperation in her eyes. For years, they had shared dreams of harnessing the sun's power, illuminated by the same ideals. But now, those dreams were morphing into a nightmare. "What if it's too late? What if we can't control it?" he replied, the weight of the cosmos pressing down on him. As they deliberated, a new figure emerged from the shadows, Commander Harlan Trent, the no-nonsense military overseer of the project. His stoic presence was a stark contrast to the chaotic energy pulsating from the sphere. "We need to initiate an evacuation protocol," he declared, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "This isn't just a scientific anomaly, it's a potential catastrophe." Dr. Vex felt a swell of resistance. Evacuation would mean abandoning everything they had worked for, a surrender to the very chaos they sought to tame. "No, we can't just leave it," he exclaimed, the desperation in his voice echoing the turmoil within him. "We might be able to stabilize the energy output if we recalibrate the core's quantum field. We can't give up on our dream." Ilara placed a hand on his shoulder, grounding him. "But at what cost, Arian? If we're wrong, we could unleash devastation. We need to make a decision based on reason, not hope." Just then, the sphere reacted violently. A shockwave knocked them off their feet, followed by a deep, resonating hum that seemed to vibrate through their very bones. The lights within the sphere shifted, coalescing into a form that resembled an eye, watchful, sentient, and filled with an ancient wisdom that sent shivers down their spines. It was as if the sphere had awakened to their presence. And in that moment, rational explanations were rendered meaningless. The cacophony of alarms intensified, and Vex scrambled to his feet, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "We have to act now," he shouted, but the urgency in his voice was drowned out by the dissonant hum of the sphere. It felt alive, a force of nature beyond their comprehension, and it was demanding something from them. Ilara's expression shifted from fear to determination. "I'll work on recalibrating the quantum field if we can channel the energy instead of trying to contain it. We might stabilize it," she proposed, already moving toward the control console. Commander Trent stepped forward, skepticism etched on his features. "And if it doesn't work? We'll be risking lives for a theory." Vex felt the tension crackle in the air, the clash between idealism and pragmatism colliding within the small group. "We don't have the luxury of time to weigh our options," he said, his voice firm. "We're all in this together. If we fail as one." As they split into their respective roles, Ilara feverishly recalibrating the controls, Trent preparing evacuation protocols, and Vex grappling with the growing chaos, he felt the weight of his brother's memory weighing heavily upon him. The pressure of leadership bore down. His decisions would shape the fate of thousands. But even as they worked, the sphere's energy pulsed with an insatiable hunger, and Dr. Vex couldn't shake the feeling that something far more profound and dangerous lurked within its depths, waiting for the moment to strike. The cosmos had whispered, and now it was demanding an answer. As Ilara worked feverishly at the console, Dr. Vex felt beads of sweat trickle down his brow, each drop a reminder of the monumental stakes at play. The sphere's pulsating energy seemed to resonate with his very heartbeat, a rhythmic echo that whispered secrets of the cosmos. He closed his eyes for a moment, attempting to center himself, but instead, memories flooded back, fragments of his past he thought he had buried. He remembered the day he lost his younger brother, Eli, in a tragic accident during an experimental launch. Eli had shared his dreams of venturing beyond the stars, of discovering new worlds. Vex had been the cautious one, always advocating for safety over ambition. But that day, in his pursuit of progress, he had let his brother go first. Believing he would be safe, the guilt had haunted him ever since, a specter of failure that loomed larger than any scientific challenge he faced. Suddenly, a bolt of energy surged from the sphere, knocking him back against the control panel. He gasped as visions flashed. Before his eyes, Eli's last moments, the fear in his brother's eyes, his own helplessness. The sphere flickered again, and this time it seemed to pulse in sync with his memories, as if it were feeding off his pain. "Arian!" Ilara's voice broke through the haze. "I need you to help me stabilize the core. Focus!" But he was lost in a whirlwind of emotions. Doubt crept in. Had they truly understood what they were dealing with? Or had they merely opened a door to something that should have remained closed? The sphere was not just a machine. It felt like a sentient entity, one that was aware of their fears and desires. Commander Trent, sensing the escalating danger, barked orders. "We have to contain the energy. Ilara, are you close?" Ilara's fingers flew over the controls, but her confidence wavered. I'm trying, but it feels like the sphere is resisting. It's almost as if it knows what we're doing." Vex stared at the glowing eye within the sphere, a realization hitting him like a meteor. Their intentions were irrelevant. The sphere was not merely a power source. It was an archive of cosmic knowledge, a repository of the universe's darkest secrets. And it was aware of him, of them all. His heart raced. A chilling thought struck him. What if the sphere was somehow connected to his brother's fate? Just then, the console emitted a shrill alarm, and a holographic image flickered to life above. The control panel, a ghostly visage of Eli, eyes wide with fear, reaching out as if to warn him. Vex stumbled back, his mind racing. The past had converged with the present, and he was no longer sure where one ended and the other began. "Arian!" Ilara shouted, snapping him back to reality. "We need you now. Focus!" But as he looked at the hologram of his brother, a new layer of dread settled over him. Had he truly lost Eli, or was he still here, trapped within the very energy they sought to control? The sphere was not just a vessel of power. It was a bridge to the unknown, a link to his past that threatened to unravel everything he thought he knew. The tension in the control room thickened. As secrets began to surface and motivations shifted, Dr. Vex realized that the battle they were fighting was not just against the chaos of the sphere, but against the ghosts of their own histories, each one vying for release. He was caught in a web of fate, and the true nature of their endeavor was far more complex than he had ever imagined. With fear gripping his heart, he turned to his team, ready to confront the abyss before them. The stakes had risen, the sphere was alive, and it was demanding answers, answers only he could provide. The air crackled with tension as Dr. Vex stood at the center of the control room, caught in a maelstrom of emotions and uncertainties. The holographic image of Eli flickered more insistently, his brother's spectral face a haunting reminder of what had been lost and what could remain lost forever. Ilara's rapid keystrokes echoed in the background, a frantic attempt to stabilize. The chaotic energy emanating from the sphere. "Arian, please." Ilara's voice broke through his reverie. "If we don't contain it now, we'll lose everything." The urgency in her tone pierced Vex's disorientation. He realized that if he didn't confront the sphere, not just as a scientist, but as a brother, he might never escape the shadow of his past. With a deep breath, he stepped closer to the pulsating sphere, the energy thrumming against his skin like a heartbeat. "Eli," he whispered, feeling his heart twist. "Is this you? Are you trapped here?" The sphere reacted violently, a surge of power rippling through the room. Commander Trent, caught off guard, staggered back, his eyes wide with disbelief. "What are you doing, Vex? We need to contain it, not provoke it." But Vex could feel Eli's presence growing stronger, his brother's essence intertwining with the energy of the sphere. "I have to understand," he shouted, turning his gaze back to the hologram. "If you're here, if you can hear me, tell me how to set you free." The hologram flickered, but Eli's expression remained unchanged, a mixture of fear and desperation. Vex's heart raced. He knew that this confrontation was more than a plea for answers. It was a reckoning, a chance to confront the guilt that had haunted him for years. "Arian, focus," Ilara urged, her voice trembling as she struggled against the escalating chaos. "We need your mind clear. The sphere is amplifying your emotions." But Vex felt a shift within him. The guilt that had once paralyzed him transformed into determination. "No, I won't run from this anymore." He locked eyes with the holographic image, channeling all of his sorrow and regret into a single moment of clarity. Eli, you wanted to explore the stars. You wanted freedom. I can't let your memory be lost in this chaos. As he spoke, the sphere pulsed violently, resonating with his words. Tendrils of energy lashed out, wrapping around him, pulling him closer to the center. Ilara and Trent exchanged terrified glances, their voices drowned out by the rising crescendo of power. "Arian, it's too much," Trent shouted, grasping for Vex's arm, but he was already consumed by the sphere's energy, merging with the very essence of the universe. In that decisive moment, Vex confronted the truth of his brother's fate, the weight of his past pressing down like a black hole. The sphere was not just a prison, it was a gateway to understanding, a chance to redeem not only Eli's memory, but his own soul. With his heart racing, Vex reached out to the energy, a desperate plea to make sense of the chaos. "I will not let you take him from me. Show me the truth." But as the energy surged, so did a wave of darkness, and he realized that the confrontation was only beginning. The sphere demanded more than answers. It craved a sacrifice. The question loomed heavy in the air. What price would he pay to unlock the secrets of the cosmos and free his brother's spirit? The room teetered on the brink of collapse, and as the energy intensified, Vex prepared for an outcome he could neither predict nor control, leading them all toward an unknown fate. The energy surged and swirled around Dr. Arian Vex as he was drawn deeper into the sphere's chaotic heart. A blinding light enveloped him, and in that moment the world around him fractured into shards of color and sound, tearing at the fabric of his reality. He felt Eli's presence surge through him, a ghostly whisper echoing in his mind, urging him to hold on, to push through the tempest of memories and emotions. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the energy collapsed, imploding into itself with a deafening crack. Vex stumbled back, breathless and disoriented, the control room now eerily quiet. He collapsed onto the floor, his hands shaking as he fought to regain his composure. The sphere, once a chaotic whirlpool of light, now pulsed gently, a soft glow emanating from its core. Ilara rushed to his side, concern etched across her face. "Arian, are you okay?" She grasped his shoulder, her touch grounding him as he met her gaze, filled with a mix of fear and relief. I think I saw him," Vex muttered, his voice hoarse. "But it wasn't just a vision. I felt him. He was trapped, but now—" Trent, still recovering from the shock, knelt beside them, his expression grim. "You didn't just confront the sphere, you opened a gateway. We may have contained the immediate threat, but what you unleashed could have further repercussions. We need to analyze the energy signature." Vex nodded, but the weight of what he had experienced pressed down on him. The scars of their encounter were not just physical, they were etched deep in his psyche. He had faced the specter of his brother, but the emotional turmoil was far from over. As Vex struggled to his feet, he noticed something strange. The air around the sphere shimmered, revealing ghostly images of stars and planets flickering to life, remnants of Eli's dreams and aspirations. He wanted to explore the universe, Vex said, realization dawning. It's as if his spirit is still reaching for something out there. Ilara's eyes widened, and she exchanged a worried glance with Trent. What if the sphere wasn't just a trap? What if it's a bridge to another dimension, one where Eli may still exist? Before Vex could respond, the sphere pulsed again, stronger this time, and a strange sound resonated throughout the room, a distant, haunting melody that echoed of lost worlds and forgotten dreams. He felt the pull of the energy once more, a siren call that beckoned him to dive deeper into the unknown. "Arian, we can't just stand here," Ilara exclaimed, her voice urgent. "We need to secure the sphere and ensure it doesn't destabilize. Again, we can't risk what happened here today repeating itself." As they moved to stabilize the sphere, Vex felt the weight of unresolved mysteries pressing in on him. Had he truly freed Eli, or merely opened a door to something far more dangerous. The tension in the room thickened, leaving questions lingering in the air. "Commander," Trent said, glancing back at Vex, "we need to prepare for any fallout from this. We don't know what we've awakened." Vex's heart raced, not just from the fear of what was to come, but from the lingering hope that perhaps Eli's journey was far from over. As they worked together to stabilize the sphere, he sensed that this was only the beginning, a prelude to a much larger mystery yet to unfold. The room buzzed with energy, both tangible and intangible, and Vex knew that whatever lay ahead would challenge everything he thought he understood about loss, sacrifice, and the very fabric of reality. The answers they sought were just out of reach, tantalizingly close, yet shrouded in the unknown. The adventure into the cosmos was calling, and the echoes of the past were far from silent. As Vex and his team wrestled with the pulsating energy of the sphere, they became acutely aware of the choices looming before them. The past whispered, its secrets offering two equally terrible paths. One option beckoned them to dive deeper into the sphere's heart, risking everything to chase the phantom of Eli, a chance to potentially reunite Vex with his brother, but at the cost of unleashing an uncontrollable force that could consume them all. The other path urged caution, to seal the sphere and protect their reality, but in doing so, they would forsake Eli forever, leaving him trapped in an unknown abyss. Vex felt the tug of both fates, each promising a resolution, but also cloaked in dread. The room trembled as the sphere's energy intensified, mirroring his internal struggle. He could feel Eli's spirit reaching out, pleading for liberation, yet he was painfully aware that such a choice could lead to catastrophic consequences. "Arian," Ilara shouted, her voice breaking through his turmoil, "we need you to decide. We can't hold this energy much longer." With his heart pounding, Vex faced the inevitable. He could either risk everything to save the memory of his brother, potentially unleashing horrors beyond comprehension, or he could sacrifice that hope, sealing away the sphere and resigning himself to the grief of loss. In that harrowing moment, he made his choice, one that would reverberate through the cosmos. As he reached toward the sphere, the energy surged violently, and the room erupted in a blinding light. When the brilliance faded, Vex stood alone in darkness, the echoes of his decision haunting him. He realized he had made a fatal choice, one that would forever change the fabric of their reality, leaving him to grapple with guilt and the specter of what could have been. As the dust settled, uncertainty loomed, the future fraught with peril yet tantalizingly open. A chilling whisper filled the air, hinting at the price of his decision, and Vex knew he could never turn back. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Share with your friends, so they can also embark on this mystery-filled adventure, and leave a comment below telling us your favorite part or what kind of ending you'd like to see in a future story.